believe it. A woman accused of killing her own landlord, stuffing his body under the stairs of the house and renting out rooms in his home while collecting the damn rent herself.
And the shocking part about this story is police knew that the guy must have been dead for about 2 years before they arrested this woman. Let me explain what happened. Okay, this is Colin. He's 78 years old and he's a Navy veteran. He lives in Houston and he wants to rent out rooms in his home. So this woman, Pamela Merritt, decides to rent one of those rooms. Then, shockingly, Colin just disappears. Now, Merritt, who's still living in the house, decides to rent out some of the apartments within the home to other people and collect the rent. So Merritt then found a tenant for the apartment. Her name is Tabitha Pope. And she gave Tabitha a deal. She said, hey, if you clean up the second floor apartment, I'll actually give you a discount on the rent. Tabitha said, of course, yeah, I'll definitely go clean it up. And this is what happened.
When Tabitha started cleaning the second floor, she found bins filled with blood that were hidden in a crawl space.
It just smelled like death.
And when she asked what it was, she says Pamela told her it was from rotten meat that had went bad during the freeze. But when Tabitha made it to the third floor, where Kurdachi lived prior to his disappearance,
there was blood on the splatters on the wall. There was coagulated blood on the floor, throughout the room. On his bed, there was a big spot of blood.
That was on October 2nd, 2021. Tabitha called police.
So now police get there with all this blood and everything, and you would think police would start an open murder investigation. The guy's missing, all this blood over his house. The tenant is now taking money from renting the apartments out. But the police department did something very shocking. They just came and left.
Tabitha called police. Officers came, took pictures, and then left.
Basically, they said no body, no crime.
So police seemingly didn't care. No body, no crime. You go to an apartment where there's blood everywhere, blood-soaked bed, buckets of blood, as they said, all in the corner, and they say, we can't do anything because we don't have a body, even though we have everything that shows that someone was killed up here. So police did some investigating, and they asked Pamela Merritt, what the hell is this? Why is there all this blood? Why is there's all this smell and rotten meat? And this is the story that police bought from the suspect.
They use mixed stories. They sort of confess that they may have killed the man. They then say he may have gone away and faked his death and gone on a 2-year trip to Africa. They say that there's a dead dog under the stairs, that blood throughout the home is from leftover meat from cleaning a refrigerator. I mean, it's
and who buys all of that? Who buys all of that?
I'll tell you who buys all of it. The Houston Police Department. Now, to be fair, they did take the woman into custody, and instead of interrogating her and maybe doing a further investigation, they took her to a mental hospital and forgot about the case.
I'm shocked that HPD didn't pick this up sooner, because according to the record and the case file, HPD went out there. And then someone told them the man was killed or stabbed. And they took the woman, Pamela Merritt, to a mental hospital instead of further interrogating her and getting to the bottom of investigating. I heard them say in court, HPD did not investigate.
That's crazy. The police department did not investigate. Now, let's fast forward 2 months. They said no body, no crime. And guess what happens? They find the body.
2 months later, Tabitha found a body.
I was back here under the stairs.
The skeletal remains of Kurdachi were found in the backyard. He'd been stabbed to death. And Tabitha says Pamela Merritt actually led her right to his remains.
I had mentioned to her that if they found Colin's body somewhere, then it wouldn't be a foreclosure. 2 days after that is when they let slip something about the dog corpse under the stairs. She's like, oh, you want to see it? And then she got all peppy. And I was like, sure. And she damn near skipped to the backyard. She stops and her face just, there it is. And turns around and walks away. So, I mean, I took one look at it and I just knew immediately it was a body.
What went through your mind in that moment?
Oh, she killed him.
Detectives and crime scene units investigated and removed the remains from the yard. No arrests were made.
I know, don't pull your hair out, but like you just heard, no arrests were made. You got the blood, you got the body, but they're saying that, hey, we don't know what happened. This is the most inept police department on the planet. So now, let me let you know how bad this is. You have the body, you have the blood, you got all this stuff happening. How long do you think it took police to make an arrest in this case? It took them 2 years. That's right. They arrested the killers 2 years after finding the body.
A woman is waking up in jail after being charged with a 2-year-old murder in Montrose. Investigators say Pamela Merritt killed her landlord, 78-year-old Colin Kurdachi. His skeletal remains found in the backyard of the Montrose home in December of 2021. Several months after he was reported missing, Merritt was arrested just last week.
So now you think this case is open and shut, right? She essentially admitted to the killing. She showed them where the body was. The murder scene was still there with all the blood and everything everywhere. So she goes in front of a judge and listen to her bail amount.
A woman accused of killing her landlord and collecting rent from other tenants appeared in court today. Pamela Merritt's bond was set at $9,500. Investigators say she killed her landlord in Montrose nearly 2 years ago. His skeletal remains were found in the backyard of his home in December of 2021.
Now, cooler heads did prevail, and her bail was raised to $500,000, which is more appropriate for someone who's confessed to a murder, you found the body, and you're right there at the crime scene where the person was murdered in their own home. So yeah, so $500,000 is now the new bail amount after that horrible $9,500 bail amount. So now, obviously, I think this woman is cooked. She's probably not going to get out of jail ever again. But I do want to ask, what about the Houston Police Department in the story? It was obvious someone was murdered in that apartment with all the evidence that was described. And 2 months later, they then found the body that matches all that evidence that they found. And still, they arrest no one. Matter of fact, they detained her, took her to a mental hospital, and didn't even follow up with any further investigation. And then 2 years later, that's when they decided to make an arrest in this case. And all that time, she's collecting rent, she's living her life. She could have left the country for all anyone would have known. Now, obviously, this woman is probably some type of drug addict, and this was just a crime of opportunity. But the police department here has a lot of egg on its face, and heads would roll, because this is totally unacceptable. So now, let me know how you feel in the comment section. Do you think police response was appropriate? Do you think I'm just being too hard on the police department and authorities there in Houston? Would you have made an arrest when you found the bones and the crime scene, all within a 2-month period? Would it have taken you 2 years to kind of figure out what happened? Even though you got a live witness there telling you, she told me she killed him. She told me where the body was. She told me to clean up the crime scene. Like, really? I don't know. I feel like I may be being too hard on the local police, but let me know in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.